Hello again, everyone, and just like last time, this is Spider-Man, but it's not Edge of Time. This is Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions for the Nintendo DS. You'll find some similarities between this and Web of Shadows, but also quite a few differences. It also comes with a very special guest.
Greetings, true believers! Stan Lee here, welcoming you to the latest harrowing handheld adventure of our high-powered hero, the Amazing Spider-Man. Now get ready, you've never experienced action and excitement before with such universal appeal.
I got word that Mysterio found some old rock or tablet that was dug up in the construction site. I'm not sure what it is, but if he wants it, I'm sure he's got trouble in mind. This should be easy enough.
The voice acting, as usual, is pretty dang great.
Alright, quick stretch of the hammies, and we're off. These neighborhoods aren't gonna friendly themselves.
So Mysterio just up and decided he was going to steal himself an ancient magical tablet. That doesn't really seem like his thing. He might be a little bit out of his field.
Still the best part of the job.
I mean, that's a real magical tablet. These aren't special effects or anything like that. I do believe this is the second game where Mysterio has been the main villain, the other one being friend or foe. Oh, and it can be a little hard to tell here, but yes, you have to have your webs attached to things if you want to swing. The combat, as you're about to see while we pound the crap out of these innocent crates, is actually very similar to Web of Shadows. It's more about keeping your enemy incapacitated in general than just juggling, though.
Go get him, Spider-Man. It's like swinging, but with a little more zip.
We got the basic uppercut just now, which is going to be absolutely essential.
Nice. I could use a quick breather.
After years of searching, I, Mysterio, have uncovered the key to defeating that pesky Spider-Man once and for all.
Yeah, I'm right here.
The tablet of order and chaos is finally mine.
Dude, behind you.
Now, I can televise the destruction of...
Hey!
Spider-Man! You will not foil my plans this time!
We really need to find a new way to settle our differences.
So in spite of his new look, old Fishbowl Head hasn't changed even a little bit. He still wants to televise our downfall for the whole world to see. He's still absolutely terrible at hand-to-hand combat too, which is giving me plenty of opportunity to show you all the agility you can make use of. Because webbing plays an infinitely more important role here than it ever does in Amazing Allies.
Stop blocking my punches! No! I won't let you take it!
I'm not asking your permission. Just a quick yank, and...
No!
What rope? Did that just... And you went... Well, at least this is...
Spider-Man!
Madam Webb? If you're here, this can't be good.
All is not good, Spider-Man. Mysterio obtained a most powerful artifact which holds the balance of reality in check. Thanks to you shattering it, dimensional rifts have opened, spreading pieces of the tablet across both time and space. Luckily, these pieces have landed in dimensions with their own Spider-Man.
Wait, hold up. There are other me's?
Yes, in a past unlike our own, and a future which may now never come to pass. I speak to you three heroes. Go forth and restore the tablet, or your reality and those of your counterparts will cease to exist forever. Amazing Spider-Man, you must pass your shard to the other heroes so that they too may use its power to locate the remaining pieces. Seek out the dimensional gateways. The tablet will guide you.
Well, Aunt May always said I could use a little more guidance. Alright, Magic Shard, do your thing.
So we really managed to screw things up in record time. I mean, what was that, 4 minutes? Luckily, we already have some idea of how to fix it, or Madam Webb does, rather. Thankfully, she seemed focused on trying to fix the situation instead of playing the blame game, because I mean, come on, we barely touched the tablet. Mysterio was the one using it to block our punches. It's not like we asked for Mysterio to have an obsessive, lifelong grudge against us either. I mean, I'd like to see the Fantastic Four deal with this.
Conveyor belts? Like a video game all of a sudden?
I can see Reed Richards being interested in whether he could actually stretch between dimensions. Of course, that may already have happened. You can never actually be sure.
Alright, baddies, take your best shot.
The dodge power-up isn't great for hand-to-hand combat, but we can sidestep projectiles completely with it. We're just going to have to assume that these robots right here are Mysterio's because they are kind of made in his likeness. And there is absolutely no doubt that he is plenty egotistical enough. It's a good thing we got that tablet away from him, otherwise we would be living in a world made entirely of dome-based architecture.
Your seat is in the next room. Go there now.
Wow, this is... wow.
So now we have to play a cute little minigame to send the tablet over to Noir Spidey. Presumably Madam Web has told him it's coming, otherwise I imagine this will be very confusing. It's still plenty confusing for us though, because we have to fend off Mysterio's freaky little skullhead tentacle monsters and his grabby hands.
Search the museum for the tablet fragment. Where criminals dwell, the fragment awaits.
I've got to get my hands on that fragment before it's too late.
Your counterparts have powers you do not possess, but there may be a way to use this dimensional anomaly to our advantage. I will look into this further.
Miguel, stop throwing your voice like that. Noir Spidey here, he doesn't have the ability to stick to walls, like regular Spidey does. He does, however, still have webbing, which means we just have to do a little bit of creative platforming to get by. And while we're talking about game mechanics, let's talk about the map at the bottom of the screen, which looks pretty Metroid-y.
I can get into the museum through the subway. I'll head in through here.
And that's because the game definitely uses Metroid-style exploration. You get power-ups, you're able to bypass walls and go further. It's pretty simple stuff, but it's really satisfying. Helps give the game a nice sense of progression. So now we're in the museum, and there are no shortage of criminals by far, so the tablet can't be too far. Still have to wonder just what exactly these criminals are here for. I mean, it is a museum, so they could just be stealing whatever, but it might have something to do with the tablet also. There are also way too many of them for it just to be a bunch of roving gangsters. They have to have a boss somewhere. Let's grab this grate real quick. So if they are here because of the tablet, we can assume that someone told them about it, and we can also assume that that someone is probably not Madam Web. It could be Mysterio, but then we also have to assume that Mysterio found a way to travel between universes, just like we have. I mean, he does have the rest of the tablet, so that's a very real possibility. Though I'm sure Noir Spidey doesn't need a reason beyond, there are criminals in the museum, I have to stop the criminals. All of the Spider-Men have special abilities they can use with the L button.
Great. That ancient stone could be anywhere amongst these artifacts.
It could, but then there are only so many rooms in the museum. If we just keep punching criminals until we run out, we're bound to find it. It's probably safe to assume these guys muscled their way in, because with how many of them there are, I can't imagine this was a sneaky operation. And I think they're definitely after the tablet, because there are way too many of them here for them to be just stealing some sort of ordinary priceless trinket. Because you don't send, you know, an army to get the most valuable diamond in the world. You send one specialized thief. Then again, diamonds are inherently useless, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm trying to say is that they probably saw Noir Spidey coming somehow. Not that it really matters, because they clearly did not bring enough men for the job. Or at least not enough good men. If Mysterio is in charge of these guys, maybe he just way underestimated Noir Spidey.
Jump up through here.
We really probably didn't need to crush that trash can. Though we don't really know enough about Noir Spidey's character to say whether he cares about collateral damage. I like to imagine that he could get along pretty well with Miguel. We can just yank weapons right out of guys' hands and throw them back in their face. You're gonna have to remember that for later. It's pretty important. More so than it is already, I mean.
tell me who's in charge. Boss, he's in the armor. We'll never stop him.
So they do have a boss, and he's just hanging out in the armory wing. Luckily, there's not too many places left in the museum we haven't been yet. And sadly, we can't yet explore off to the left over here because there's a giant concrete block in our way. We can't break past it. The only direction we have left to go is further down. And we sadly don't have as much time to deal with these punks now that we know where the boss is. We gotta get there as quickly as we can. Especially if he's just waiting out for us in the armory. That's all kinds of bad news. That right there was some good stealth. I mean, he never saw us coming behind that sign. Some of the criminals seem to have resorted to picking up clubs from the exhibits. Don't do that, guys. Have some kind of dignity. I mean, at the very least, you should have come slightly prepared with some kind of knife or something. Or perhaps they actually brought the clubs with them to the museum, though that raises a lot more questions than it answers. Either way, it's clear their new weapons are hurting them a lot more than us. There are really only a couple more rooms in this museum left, so one of them has to be the armory. The criminals in this game actually won't fire at you if their friend is in their line of sight. It's a pretty nice touch.
Seems safe here. All that stands between me and the tablet piece is a guy with a boomerang, and, you are?
Boomerayng. You're here for this bit of rock, ain't you, mate? You sure picked a good day to die.
So, aside from being the embodiment of Australia, Boomerayng here really doesn't have any superpowers. He does, however, have a boomerang, and he's invincible while he's holding it. Fortunately for us, we can easily yank it away with our webs, though he does have to throw it first.
And I'm taking you down under. 6 feet down under.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
It's a pretty cute boss fight, and it's a really good way to remind players of the disarming mechanic. Boomerayng as a character has actually been around quite a long while, and he usually has many different types of boomerangs, usually resorting to different kinds of technology, such as generic knockout gas and the like. Though in this case it's just the one boomerang. Just the one.
I warned you this would come back to haunt you.
And there's that tablet we've been looking for, and when we grab it, we get a new ability, one that lets us smash those concrete blocks that are in our way.
Excellent work, Spider-Man. But your victory was merely the beginning. You must now pass the tablet to the hero of 2099, so that he may continue our quest.
Glad to be of service.
And with Boomerayng defeated and the tablet in our possession, that's it for this video, but I'll see you for the rest of Act 3 of Edge of Time. Thank you for watching.